Welcome back. Simultaneous to the World Championship Qualifier main event that we've been watching throughout the past couple of days, the North American World Championship Qualifier for the Dragon Duel division has also been going on at the same time. And now we are down to the top 4 players. Only the top 2 players will represent North America at the World Championship in Japan. And the winner of this match will be one of them. We have DeAndre Mason versus Nathaniel Patton in a matchup of Heroes versus Necros.
Patton is using what appears to be a standard Necros deck, but he's also using Jurigato, a card from the new Battle City pack.
Yeah, he's got Jurigato, he's got Galaxy Cyclone, don't see that often, and he's got Jar of Avarice, which I don't think I've ever seen in a Necros deck.
Yeah, so he has a couple of interesting tech cards.
Patton starts fast with Manju with the 10,000 hands to get Necros Kaleidoscope. And that's it for his turn. Mason's up next. He's got Shadow Mist, Hero Lives, Reinforcement of the Army, Call of the Haunted, Solemn Warning. And the card he just drew, we also Reinforcement of the Army.
And he starts things off by activating a Hero Lives. He pays 4,000 life points to special summon any hero monster from his deck, and he chooses Elemental Hero Shadow Mist.
Shadow Mist, when special summon, gets you a change, quick play spell, and he takes Mass Change.
Next, he activates Reinforcement of the Army. This lets him add any level 4 or lower warrior to his hand, which is pretty much any elemental hero in his deck, or Goblinberg.
Goblinberg has not, well, normal summon has not been used yet. So he normal summons it, activates its effect, which will special summon it to defense position, then special summon Shadow Mist. He's already used the Shadow Mist effect this turn, so he cannot get another quick play. But having the Mass Change and the Shadow Mist and the rank 4, ooh, Blade Armor Ninja, he's going to go for a lot of damage real fast.
Of course, he did do lost a lot of life points himself by activating a Hero Lives.
It's true, so I guess it's only fair.
So, yeah.
And that was the second reinforcement of the army that Mason had drawn for the turn. Blade Armor Ninja lets you detach a material to target one of your ninjas and make it able to attack twice during each battle phase for the turn. Why each battle phase? Because in some universe, you might find yourself flipping Weather Report face up and destroying Swords of Revealing Light and getting a second battle phase that way. And in that case, a Blade Armor Ninja powered monster could attack 4 times. In the battle phase, we see Jurigato summoned during the battle step to block and gain 1,000 life points for Nathaniel Patton. It can also be used to be tributed to pump up that Manju to 2,400 attack, which would make it bigger than Blade Armor Ninja and allow it to match wits with Elemental Hero Darklaw, or Masked Hero Darklaw.
Unfortunately here, now that it's on the field, Mason isn't going to attack the Manju and allow his Blade Armor Ninja to be destroyed.
No, he'll attack the Jurigato
exactly
to force the pump on Manju.
Yes.
And then I think it's likely that he'll use the first Mass Change to swap Shadow Mist for Masked Hero Anki to go ahead and defeat the Manju, and then he'd be able to get another Mass Change to swap it out for Darklaw to start interfering with the search cards next turn.
Could do that, or he can just pass.
He could just pass.
With the Jurigato down.
He activates the Mass
like
Change.
He's going for your play.
Shadow Mist is traded for Anki. Still in the battle phase, Anki attacks. And Anki's effect will allow for another change spell to be added to the hand. Takes another Mass Change. Blade Armor Ninja has lost its first attack because it did not continue it after the replay caused when the number of defenders changed, but it still has its second attack. So he can swing for 2,200. Mass Change, the second one, or the second Mass Change, not Mass Change 2, is immediately activated.
And he's turning his Elemental Hero into Elemental Hero Darklaw.
He's just getting all that damage in that he can right now. And you can, in fact, do that. A lot of people might think that Mass Change is you can only activate 1 per turn, but it's not. Yeah, so that's all totally legal.
Why can't the hero put on a different mask?
Why not?
Here's Bullblader.
Bullblader summoned right away. The score tied at 4,000 apiece now. after the attacks and Yurighetto. Full-Blader Summon attacks into Dark Law and is successful. Dark Law's off the field. Necroz's Kaleidoscope is activated. This is like the one time that you could actually get away with Solemning it. He does not do it. Shuret is tributed to put Necroz of Gungnir on the field. Now, the reason you can get away with this is because there are no other Necroz cards in the graveyard, so you couldn't just go search out another ritual spell.
So he's going to use his Shuret's effect.
It's a warrior type of ritual monster. He takes Brionac. Brionac then discarded. Takes a look at a Trishula, but goes for Valkyris.
Mason activates Call of the Haunted.
He says go, and in the end phase, Call of the Haunted is activated.
But Patton is activating the effect of his Gungnir to destroy it, preventing anything from being special summoned back to Mason's field. That Blade Armor Ninja can't destroy the Gungnir, but it can activate its effect by detaching Ixie's material. The good news from that is that by doing so, Elemental Hero Shadow Mist gets sent to the graveyard, so its effect activates to allow Mason to add an Elemental Hero monster to his hand, and he has decided to add Elemental Hero Neos Alias to his hand.
Summons Alias, sets the hero lives, and then flips Reinforcement of the Army to fetch Bubble Man. With only Bubble Man in hand, he can then special summon that to go for a rank 4.
All right, Bubble Man.
So the one thing that kind of hurts because he used Call of the Haunted in the end phase instead of on his own turn is that Necroz of Gungnir's effect is still live here.
Yes.
He takes Silent Honor Arc.
Okay, so he's taking the Honor Arc. So Patton is using his Gungnir's effect to try to destroy the Honor Arc. We can expect that Mason will protect it with his number 101's effect, but without two Ixie's materials attached to it, he won't be able to use its effect to then absorb the Necros of Valkyris as an Ixie's material.
And that's when Mason just realized that he might have wanted to hold off on that call. Senju of the Thousand Hands is summoned, and Solemn Warning is now activated there, cutting DeAndre Mason's life points down to 2,000.
So it's not often you see Necros just stuck on one big monster on the field, but that's the situation here. It's rather interesting.
Right now, this is when you want number F0.
That was a great draw.
Although I guess you can't use it with number 101.
Yeah, that was a great draw.
What did he pick up?
Mason just picked up Forbidden Lance.
Oh.
So now he is able to destroy that Necros
Yes.
of Gungnir in battle, which is exactly what he needs. And Patton has no hand, so he can't even use his Gungnir's effect. Not that it would save him from the Forbidden Lance, since Mason has two attackers here.
With Forbidden Lance, it's not quite enough to end the game. You can cut the Gungnir down to 1,700, which gets you 500 damage through this Blade Armor Ninja, and another 21. That'd be 26 total. But it would put Mason back in the lead and back in command of the field. 1,600 life points down to 1,400.
So now with Patton's field empty, though, he is able to use ritual spell cards.
He is, and he has a Shuret in the graveyard. But
it looks like he drew a ritual spell, so he didn't have the monster
enough
to summon, even though he could banish those ritual spell cards. He was great to get more ritual spell cards. So Mason wins the first duel with his Elemental Hero deck, and Nathaniel Patton will be able to choose who will go first in Duel 2.
Nice quick pace to that duel.
Yes. In Mason's side deck, we have Exile Force, Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 copies of Defusion, 2 copies of Dark Hole, Rivalry of the Warlords, 2 Royal Commands, 2 Trapstone, and 3 Fairy Wind. Doesn't look like there's much against Necros.
Exiled Force, I think, is for that. Dark Hole also, he could side in ways to blow up a monster that was empowered by Jin Releaser. But I think that's just about it.
How do you like Rivalry of the Warlords? I feel like I see that card a lot.
I don't. Rivalry of the Warlords, after spending years judging this game, Rivalry of Warlords is one of those cards that I wish had never existed because it drives me crazy. It's complicated enough that we had to put give it its own web page along with Gozen Match,
Yeah.
and people still have questions about how Rivalry of Warlords and Gozen Match work. In terms of actual gameplay value, the main thing that it would be useful for if you put it in this matchup is stopping the rank 4s. Rank 4s come from a combination of a fairy and a spellcaster, either Manju or Senju, along with Necrotic Unicorn most of the time. So if you have Rivalry of Warlords, you can cut them off of Exciton Knight, Lava Wall Chain, and Friends. Whereas you're playing heroes, all of your monsters other than Summoner Monk are warriors.
Yes, and a lot of the extra deck monsters are also warriors.
Yes,
including
all
that
your
blade
heroes,
armor
basically.
ninja we saw.
Blade Armor is... Gaga Cowboy is, even.
Yeah. So we might see that here. I'm a big fan of those cards. I can't tell you how many times I've had to explain how Gozen Match and Rivalry of Warlords work with Gladiator Beasts tagging out.
Unfortunately, you didn't have a website
Yeah.
to help you do that back in those days.
So Patton's side deck has 2 copies of Denko Sekka, 2 Fire Hands, 2 Ice Hands, 2 Lancias, 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 2 Spell Canceller, a Zephyr Saber, Swords Master of the Necros, and 2 Shared Rides.
Side decking Spell Canceller in Necros seems interesting. It's probably the same thing as siding in Mistake in Necros.
I kind of like it a little better because
Yeah?
if they're going to have a really tough time destroying Spell Canceller, but if they do destroy Spell Canceller, you're able to play spells again.
True.
Whereas Mistake, if they draw the cards they need without searching for them, they're able to, get ahead
yeah,
while
put you locked down on
while
your
the
own.
mistake still hinders
Got
you.
it.
So when the problem card is also a threat, I feel like it works a little better. People are using Mistake probably as a way more popular card, even to side deck in the Necros deck over Spell Canceller, just because it's easier to flip. You don't have to tribute a monster to summon it. You just draw it and set it. But as far as the potential to backfire, I think Spell Canceller is a little lower risk.
Looks like Patton has chosen to go first. He starts off with Senju, picks up Brionac. You're going to get all his searching in before any chance of Darklaw. Brionac is discarded to search for Valkyrus. And one thing that's kind of rough is he's got Fire Hand and Ice Hand in his side deck that you think might be really good here, but then you remember that Darklaw banishes everything.
That's true.
So they can't even work.
I still think it's worth putting in, though, because it seems very effective if the opponent doesn't have Darklaw out, and the opponent won't always have Darklaw out. I know they commonly do because they have so many ways to search for it.
Tell that to Mason, who's just gone and normal summon the Blindberg to special summon Shadow Mist to go get Mass Change.
Yeah.
And is likely about to summon Darklaw. I don't think he agrees with your theory here.
Well, in hindsight's 2020. So yeah.
Now we do see you put in the Dark Holes from his side deck as well. I saw a glimpse of that.
Okay.
Checks his extra deck and sees if he wants to Exceed Summon or use the Mask Change. When you see Necrod set a card, there's really only a couple things it can be. It's generally either a bluff or something like Solemn Scolding or Vanity's Emptiness, something that can block your special summon or otherwise punish you for trying.
Although, that mindset is the reason a lot of duelists have used Torrential Tribute in their Necros decks and caught a lot of players off guard. So, the surprise factor can be pretty huge.
Now, Blindberg and Shadow Mist are combined. Looks like he's going to go
Pastel.
Interesting. Attaches both materials. Send Manju back to the deck, but he won't get his Shadow Mist effect there. Attacks directly.
Oh.
That's 2 cards.
No Darklaw yet.
Oh, and in the end phase Mystical Space Typhoon hits Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare. Not what Mason wanted to see. Preparation of Rites is over in Patton's hand. He's also got a Bull Blader.
He's thinking about activating that Preparation of Rites.
Sometimes you just have to do it, even if you haven't gotten a ritual spell in your graveyard.
He also has...
Denko Sekka.
Yeah, Denko Sekka.
Denko Sekka can be useful in this matchup.
Yeah, I'd say Denko Sekka is very good in this matchup. He has 2 copies of it in his side deck. There's 19 spell cards and 11 trap cards in Mason's deck. Several of those spell cards are quick play spell cards, including Mask Change.
Bullblader is the summon, though.
Right.
Bullblader activates its effect and runs into Castell, destroying both monsters, but no damage is dealt. That leaves Mason's field clear, so he can use Reinforce of the Army, and we also see he's got a Hero Lives also in his hand.
So we might see another aggressive 4,000 life point special summon.
Oh, he's going to grab Elemental Hero Shadow Mist and normal summon it. Now he flips Mass Change.
All right, so here comes Dark Law. This is problematic for Patton. Because, is it problematic for Patton?
Only if he needs to search or have anything in his graveyard. Valkyris is used here. So you discard the card, basically. It's not discard to the graveyard or send to the graveyard like a lot of those other similar cards. So you can still use it in this case.
Yes, so this is very problematic for Patton. He has no cards in his hand that can take down the Dark Law, and the cards he does have in his hand are actually vulnerable to Dark Law. He has a card that searches, Preparation of Rites, which would cost him a card from his hand. He has Denko Sekka, which is no help, and it looks like a Necros of Trishula that he can't summon.
Galaxy Cyclone is activated, destroying the Hero Lives.
It's in
Preparation of Rites activated next. And now he's just got to hope.
Yeah, he needs to get lucky here. He's only going to be able to keep 2 of those 3 cards in his hand. Would any combination of those 2 cards even help him?
What does he have there? I think Denko Sekka still?
Denko Sekka and Necros of Trishula. It's fair to say that he wants the Denko Sekka to be hit by the mass
one
law
that goes.
because it's no help here at all.
But I'm not sure what super helps here. Searches for Brionac.
Is Dark Law is each time your opponent searches, or is it once per turn?
It's once per turn.
All right, so he can... Well, but Brionac needs to be sent to the graveyard?
No, just discard it.
Just discard it. All right, so...
He hits the Denko Sekka,
so he got the Brionac, and he's
looking for.
Yeah, so he can use the Brionac, and he's not vulnerable to the Dark Law's discard effect anymore this turn. But he still only has 2 cards, so it doesn't look like there's anything he can summon.
He goes and gets Shurit anyways. And now he has Shurit and Trishula. But now he needs a ritual spell. And he's just got to hope that he gets another turn here.
That seemed like a good play, though, because his options were very limited. I mean, he could have sat there and done nothing.
He's not getting another turn.
Yeah.
Normal summons Exiled Force, special summons Bubble Man. Gets the Blade Armor Ninja.
If
that is all the damage that DeAndre Mason needs to punch his ticket to Japan.
Yes. If he could have gotten another turn, he might have been able to draw the ritual spell card that would allow him to draw the Trishula, summon the Trishula, and come back in the duel. But as you mentioned, there was no other turn.
Doesn't happen. DeAndre Mason and his hero deck advance to the finals of the Dragon Duel World Championship Qualifier and earn DeAndre Mason a trip to Japan to play in the Dragon Duel World Championship.
Congratulations to DeAndre Mason.
And we'll find out who our other Dragon Duelist representative is going to be soon enough when DeAndre Mason meets him in the finals.
I mean, Dark Law is your biggest issue. Exceeding's not your big problem. You can kill any Exceeding with your deck with anything. Your problem is Dark Law. That takes too many cards away from your deck too fast.
I was not expecting to see heroes this far up, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
You're going to the finals. You got third or fourth, right? Good luck to you.
And while we wait to find out who's going to be meeting Mr. Mason in the finals, we're going to have a replay of round 6 from yesterday, game 2.